Austraeoh by Imploding Colon, read by Deathlight, Chapter 184, Moving. Rainbow and Eberspeak left the northwest exit of Sanctuary and passed over the grey ruins of Sylvatal like shadows. Night loomed over the high smog that blanketed the sky, and even still, exposed once more to the surface. Rainbow felt her eyes twitching from each stabbing hit of light. For a brief moment, she truly pitied the Sylvadalians and their innocent, uneducated perspective of the sky. Quietly, as she shoved her hooves over the concrete and mortar, she promised herself never to take the clouds for granted again. Though it was a brisk trip that the two mares took, it was hardly a tranquil one. Echoes of draconian shrieks billowed across the inky black sky. The scent of sulfur waxed and waned, tickling Rainbow Dash's nose, and almost inducing her to vomit several times. And all the while, Ember was a constant present, a supporting shoulder, and an impulse to gallop faster. Each time Rainbow Dash looked at her, the lone Sylvadalian brandished a courageous smile, navigating the indecipherably torn landscape like it was a neat plain backyard. For a heart-stopping hour, when Rainbow expected to play the part of the hero, she was certainly learning new shades of humility. The two crept closer to the northmost face of the Sylvadalian crater. An hour passed, then two. The shrieks dissipated in the air. There was no sign of movement above them. Rainbow realized it had been nearly 2 whole days since she last seen a dragon. And yet, they were more real than the vaporous breaths before her muzzle. She wondered if every pony in Sanctuary lived in such constant, undying fear. Finally, the two arrived at a shattered dome of rock. The south end faced a steep trench that formed, almost perfectly, straight towards the centermost portion of the ruined capital. Bending her head and squinting her eyes, Rainbow almost had a clear shot through which she could spot the twin mesas that formed the heart of the dead landscape. His Majesty Sam and the rest of us typically navigate that chasm, Eberspeak exclaimed in a hushed breath. We start here and gallop along the length of it. There are many deep corridors of the crushed stone that interconnect with the trench. I'm guessing none of you guys have ever flown down the ravine? Ember bit her lip and shook her head. No, but if we could, I imagine we'd remain unseen for a good length of time before any eyes in the sky caught us. Well, I guess there's a way to test that theory. First things first, we need to regain our strength. What do you suggest? What else? With that, Ember started a campfire. The protective covering of the collapsed dome hid the tiny blaze from the air. Ember dined swiftly on mole meat. For Rainbow Dash, she had set aside some bread and sanctuary-grown potatoes. Rainbow Dash barely nibbled on her morsels. Her eyes were glued on a crack of exposed smog before the rocky ceiling above them. Do you see it yet? Ember eventually asked. See what? The light of your princess. Almost. I'm guessing it's gotta be high for the moon's glow to break through the clouds and catch my pendant. When do you think that will happen? I'm guessing in the next hour and a half. At least, it better. Ember swallowed the last piece of her meal and began stamping the fire out. Considering the speed of your wings, we should have reached the nest by that point. Boy, if that isn't bringing things down to the wire. Are you used to doing things at the last second? Hey, I didn't get my perfect timing from doing Broadwinning at Manhattan. Huh? Rainbow Dash sighed and smiled entirely Ember's way. Hey, assuming all works out as planned and the dragons actually clear out of here, I think you should travel west and give Equestria a visit. It'll be worth it just to hang around for one winter wrap-up. Ember took a sip from her canteen and smiled. I still can't imagine a land where the frost lies on the ground for you to march through. Just make sure you get the shot cleared out of your system before you go for a sled ride. Rainbow Dash muttered, "There's no sense making the wondrous world of discovery turn yellow. Are we ready to go?" "I don't know, are we?" "So this is where you come in," Ember said, standing up and pointing down at the chasm. "If you fly straight towards the end of the ravine and bank your right, you'll find a giant hole in the center of the westmost mesa. Through there, the council suspects is the Matriarch's nest." "The council suspects." "You'll be the first to go in there alive," Ember said, then fidgeted. "And presumably, the first to come out." "I can't tell which side of the mesa the hole is at. How will I find it before the moonlight comes and goes?" "I was concerned about that," Ember said with a shuddering breath. "Are your legs strong?" "Why shouldn't they be?" "I suspect you'll have to carry me if I'm to be a helpful guide for the rest of the way." Rainbow blinked at her, then took a forlorn look at the incredible length they had left to go. "Ember." She glanced back at the mare, her eyes raising. "It's a really, really long trot to Sanctuary if anything should go wrong." Ember nodded. "I know that. I also know it'd be very nice if nothing went wrong." Rainbow glanced at her hooves. She took a deep breath and said, "Well, that makes two of us." She suddenly jolted, gasping for breath. Ember did a double take. "Rainbow?" "No!" Rainbow hissed and clutched her forehead as a trembling dizziness overcame her. "No, Goddess, no! Not now! Please not now!" Ember reached over and held Rainbow before the Pegasus could collapse onto the stone floor. "Is it really bad this time? Are you going to black out?" Rainbow hissed painfully, clutching her eyes shut as the lights flashed from yellow and back. I don't know. I hope not." "We're too far to get stranded now." "I know that," Rainbow exclaimed, starting to hyperventilate. She thrashed, as if with labor pains, and fought hard to keep conscious. "Must stay awake, must focus." "Tell me how I can help you," Ember remarked, grasping the sides of Rainbow's face. "Talk to me." "Don't know what to say." "Then, Ember sweated and stammered. "Tell me about Swirls. Tell me what got her and the fool so interested in listening to it earlier when I showed up. You made them smile so much, fill them with so much hope." "Ember, I was just winging it." Rainbow seethed, her eyes rolling back. "I'm always winging it. That's how I do things, until now." "Tell me what you were talking about." I... Tell me!" Ember shouted, her authoritative voice echoing beyond the range of the dome before the smog swallowed up the brave sound. Rainbow panted, gulped, and wheezed. "The sonic rain boom. It's a move I did twice in my life. Once when I was a filly, a second time just a few years ago. All my life, ponies refused to believe that I actually did it. They thought it was a myth. They thought I made it up when I told every pony I did it when I was a little foal." Ember nodded. Yes, and? And so I did it again." Rainbow shivered in Ember's grasp. Her ruby eyes were pried open as she stared at the mare through a sheen of sweat. "I proved them all wrong, and I was even witness before thousands upon thousands of Cloudalians." "Well, good for you," Ember said with a hopeful smile. "You did it to memorialize yourself?" No, that's just it." Rainbow sputtered and murmured. I always knew I was capable of it. I just needed to prove to myself that I could do it a second time. I didn't really care if other ponies saw or not. Then why did you do it in front of so many witnesses? Rainbow bit her lip and finally spat forth. Because I wanted to move on. I wanted to go beyond myself. She gulped as her breath returned slowly to normal and her eyes relaxed. Because there's anything worse than being forgotten is being forever bored. Amber smiled at her softly. Are all Pegasi so difficult to understand? Much less share the truth about themselves? Rainbow relaxed, slumped in her grasp as her dizziness finally cleared. Nah. She smiled weakly as she patted Ember's hoof on her shoulder. Just the ones who stand to blow your mind. Ember stood up and helped Rainbow to her hooves. You can say that when you're with a matriarch. How many times do I have to say it? Rainbow briefly grumbled, smoothing her mane back. It's Luna who's gonna negotiate with the Dragon Queen. She looked at Ember. Let me choose who I do or don't woo. I think I just might. Rainbow Dash gave Ember a double take. She squinted at her for a few seconds, then shrugged. Whatever. Ready to get this over with? I was born ready. That's the spirit. Rainbow hovered up, grabbed Ember by the shoulders, and made for the gray sky. Now try your best to keep that spirit in your stomach. Ember shrieked as her legs dangled in Rainbow's grip. Swiftly she silenced herself as the Pegasus sped the two down the sundered ravine, and towards the heart of the billowing smog.